having fun, living in our world.
We all know and remember the story of the Titanic. And after seeing the famous movie here not too many years ago, we're all familiar with the tale of how they had not seen an iceberg until it was too late, cleaved down the side of it, and then this caused it to start losing over the bulkheads, and it eventually went under. They knew it was going to. The first life boats didn't have enough people on them, and they really could only have taken less than half anyhow off the boat due to a lack of lifeboats now they know of. And all these things we understand know now. We've seen the trip down to the Titanic, and we've seen the famous bow that she supposedly spread her arms on and flew like a bird on the wind. And we all remember the famous story and have seen this footage before, where the two cameras were coming down and looking over the rusting hulk of the body of the ship. But I want to show you something that was found, and it's kind of interesting that you would see something like this. Let me just go into this newspaper article. So here we see a news article that's done by New York, by the World magazine and or newspaper on Monday, April the 13th. And they tell you that the gigantic bow of the Titanic was crumpled by a collision with an iceberg. They show you a picture here of whenever it got launched, I'm guessing. But disabled ship under tow after hitting big iceberg. That just doesn't quite sound right. Wireless brings steamships to the scene of disaster, and passengers, including many notables, are transferred to Carpathia and Parisian. The world's biggest ship reported in bad shape after collision at night, and now being towed to Halifax by the liner Virginian. That's not how I remember it. How did it ever get towed? I mean, here's another story over here where they have John Jacob Astor and stuff, and it's just that doesn't seem right or correct with my memory. So here's another picture here, and believe it or not, it actually shows a picture of it being towed into harbor. Now, unless this is another picture and somebody's trying to fake something with Britannia or one of the other four steam-headed ships like this that were this giant, I can't imagine. But it tells you right here that it's the Titanic, world's largest liner, celebrated. Titanic's wireless 46-ton ship, everyone's safe. 2,300 aboard in peril, everyone's safe. That's not the way that I remember that. Passengers taken off, helpless giant being towed to port by Allen Liner. While the White Star Titanic in the day, that doesn't seem right. It can't be the way that we remember it. That's not correct. Let's look at this one more here. There's passengers are expected to reach Halifax tomorrow. The Titanic's passengers are all saved and are expected to arrive in Halifax on board the Baltic sometime on Wednesday. The Titanic herself has sunk. This is the latest of the meager details received by wireless from the scene of the White Star's liner collision with a giant iceberg. The White Star Company is sending 20 special trains from Boston to Halifax to bring the passengers to New York. Scarcely more than a dozen brief wireless messages describing the disaster have been given publicly. Pieced together from these bulletins shows that only the Titanic's watertight bulkheads prevented the most appalling disaster of modern times. It was about 10 last evening, the ship's men's estimate, when the liner struck an iceberg, and apparently at nearly 12 hours the Titanic was alone with her pumps and protective devices being the only barrier to destruction. The Virginian, the Parisian, and the Carpathia, catching the wireless appeals for help, all seem to have arrived beside the Titanic about the same time this morning. Now, did they arrive and there wasn't a ship there anymore, or was there a ship there? Was there a ship there and they actually towed the thing to them, or did they not? What is this? It just here's another. The next day, Vancouver midday from the world. Passengers transferred to Carpathia. All are now safe. Titanic is on her way to Halifax. Titanic sinking, no lives lost. That's just not the way I remember it, people. This may be one of the weirdest Mandela effects. Of course, now we know the story, but was the original story different? And then it got turned into this? And how did they find the ship where they found it? Or is that where they found it? Or is that ship? Or is that not the Lusitania or one of those ships? Is it... Which way is it? Because, you know, we've seen the ship before. We've been down there. You know, we've been down there, and this, whenever we first found it, this was the estimate of the way that it looked, and how it had lost most of its masts, and it was just a crumple. This is the first half of it, and lost everything off of its bow. It's pretty much starting to rot away, and you could see where the damage was onto it. The sides were fairly intact, but the last time that we went and looked at it, it looked totally different. Where now it's pretty much just rotted away to a shell of itself, and it doesn't have as much left. Metal's peeling away, and they estimate in just another 150 years it'll be just a pile of rust that you'll wonder what it even was at some time. A few hundred years after that, it won't be distinguishable at all, but wonder what the truth is to this. And are these just false reports that somehow came out, like whenever Truman was going for president and they thought Dewey had won president, but it was Truman? Or is this actually some odd Mandela effect where it came out? Because, I don't know, there was a few stories of the unsinkable Molly Brown and some of the things that she had said and things too that just didn't quite correlate. And a few of the passengers talking about how the butt of it wasn't sticking up in the air before it fell down. And there's a contrast on what they were saying, perhaps, is the way that it went down. And, you know, some people said it went down in less than an hour and the band played, and other people saying that it, lasted till 12 hours and the ship showed up. When there's a big contrast there on a few of these reports. But let me know down there in the comments what y'all think about this, and if there's any authenticity to this at all. But yep, here's another weird Mandela effect on one of the more important historical moments in the last 1,000 years. And I'm sure everybody remembers it one way. And it seems like some people had a view of it at one time, at least, of being quite a different way. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.